Video games. They are something spectacular and they've been around for almost 50 years. That's a long time. And there have been a lot of really good games, really bad games, really interesting games, but there are some games that will last for many years to come. This is my list of the top 20 best games of all time. And now, since this is not really an easy list to make because there are so many variables, personal preferences, what everyone else likes, so what I did was I made a poll on strawpoll.me and I asked every single one of my subscribers to put down their favorite game. Then I made a list, I came down to 40 games and I asked everyone to vote for them. Thus, the game with the most votes was the number one game. And I changed a couple of games of places because I didn't really like them. Some were too high, some were too low in my opinion, but still, these games were mostly voted by you guys. So, let's start. At number 20 is Dark Souls. And now I have to be honest, I'm late on the hype train. I was really not into Dark Souls when it was first released, but recently with Dark Souls 3 coming out, I was like, yeah, let's try to get into this game. If everyone loves it, there has to be a reason why I'm not getting it. I was not getting it. But after 4 or 5 hours, more or less, I got it. This is an excellent action RPG, with not only really great combat and a high difficulty, but it is also a very rewarding game that satisfies you. I love the lore of the game, I love the combat of the game, I love the graphics as well, it looks pretty damn good. And I really love the entire setting and environment, and as a fan of action RPGs, this is really excellent and one that you should definitely check out. At number 19 is Bioshock. Another game that still looks pretty damn good after almost 10 years. Bioshock is a very interesting first-person shooter slash RPG game with a really compelling story, a game about choices, a game that's also kind of about gaming itself. It delivers a very powerful story and it also has some really interesting combat and some kind of frustrating mini-games, but if you can look past that, you have a really excellent game, a game that has won a lot of awards and that is still recognized for one of the best twists in video game history. Also guys, if you haven't already, would you kindly subscribe? Thanks. At number 18 is Spec Ops: The Line. What looks kind of like an average third-person cover-based shooter, it's actually a way more grim, disturbing look at war, at how it damages people. And the story is also heavily inspired, if not actually based, on Heart of Darkness, which is a really great novel by Conrad. And the story starts out like your typical macho, heroic war drama with, oh, we're trying to kill every single weird foreign guy in Dubai. Then things start to get more interesting and more violent, with some really WTF moments where we're just like, oh wow, that was something. And also the combat isn't that bad, and I really enjoyed the choices that you can make in the game. They're not as obvious as in other games where you have to press X or B to choose what to do. In this game, you actually have to do some of the things, and it gets really intense. At number 17 is Silent Hill 2. Arguably the best horror game of all time. This is another one of those games that is a fantastic story. James Sutherland going back to Silent Hill after receiving a letter from his dead wife. That's a really interesting premise. How could you not be kind of interested to know what happened? Why did he receive the letter? What does the letter say? What's happening in Silent Hill? What are those weird vagina monsters? It's a very good game. Even though the gameplay and the combat side isn't all that polished, it's a 2002 game. But oh man, it brings you to some really dark places, some really creepy places, and it definitely is one of the best psychological horror things of all time. Even in movies, it's very well done. And I honestly think this is a must play for every single horror game fan out there. At number 16 is Shadow of the Colossus. I've never been a huge fan of this game, I have to say, but a lot of people love this, and some might actually say that this is the best game of all time, and it's definitely up there, at least for its production quality and for the great premise. In order to save his love, a knight has to kill 8 Colossus. 8 different types of Colossus. Yeah. And the game only consists of these boss fights. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. But it still manages to be quite a stunning looking game with an excellent soundtrack and some of the best boss fights in video game history. Even though I'm not really that huge on this game, I still think it's pretty damn great. At number 15 is Left 4 Dead 2. This multiplayer zombie shooter by Valve brings back some really great memories to me. Not only because it has a shit ton of modifications that change characters, that create new maps, that have mutations or whatever. It's just a very simple concept. 4 survivors, they have to go from point A to point B, trying to kill as many zombies as possible and trying to survive. When you have 2 teams, the survivors and the infected. 4 guys who play the special infected. There is the smoker, the boomer, the tank, it's an amazing game, and it's honestly one of the best zombie games out there in my opinion. It has huge replayability, and I honestly think that everyone should check it out, especially if you have a good internet connection. It's really worth playing. Even if you have crappy connections, play it offline with the stupid bots, well, maybe not that bad. It's still one of the best multiplayer games of all time. And I definitely can't stress out that you have to buy it if you haven't already. It's worth it. Talking a lot. Ooh, let's get going. At number 14 is the only JRPG on the list. And it's Final Fantasy VI. The Final Fantasy games, they're pretty much all really good games. Some prefer the 4th one, some prefer the 3rd one, some prefer the 7th one, which is really good as well, the 8th one, the 9th one, the 10th one, the others not so much. But Final Fantasy VI is, in my opinion, the best one, because it has the best story. Sure, you have your typical strategic combat, you have your interesting gameplay of JRPGs, but I'm not really into them. But the story is really damn cool. And I honestly don't want to spoil it, because I think that saying anything about it will spoil it, but just play it. It's also available on Steam right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's available on pretty much every single platform, even mobile phones if I'm not mistaken. So go check it out. It's the best JRPG in my opinion. Even Chrono Trigger, some people like that, I don't really love it as well. But this one is really damn good. Check it out. At number 13 is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. The epic fantasy RPG is back with the latest installment in the Elder Scrolls franchise. And this was hard as well, because Morrowind was the first real open world fantasy RPG that we got. It has some really cool mechanics, but let's be honest, even if you love that game, it has gotten kinda old. And Oblivion had some really weird mechanics with the talking and the dialogue, and I don't know, and the combat it was still not all that good. But Skyrim kind of fixed all of that. Even though the combat is still not excellent, it's way more engaging than the other games. The story is really cool. You play as a Dovahkiin, there's the guy who can shout things that dragons say, and go around this huge open world. Even though it's all snowy, it looks really damn good. And it also had a shit ton of modifications that improved the look of the game, that add new weapons, that add weird dragons in the game. And there are also some really excellent downloadable contents. It's a must buy if you are a fan of fantasy RPGs. It's one of the best ones in the genre. At number 12, it's probably weird for you guys to see this game on the list, but it's Doom 2. Oh yeah, baby, I'm not all for new games. I can enjoy older games as well, and Doom 2 is one of my personal favorites first-person shooters. Some prefer the first one, some prefer the third one not really, that that many people love it, but still, Doom 2 is an excellent, excellent first-person shooter. Even though it's old, even though it looks dated, it plays so well. Going around the entire levels, running and shooting enemies and then moving around, fighting demons. You have the double-barreled shotgun. Come on, guys. Come on. Motherfucking Doom, baby. That's where it's at. At number 11 is Fallout New Vegas. This was, if I'm not mistaken, the first game that I ever bought on Steam. And oh boy, I played it for a lot. Like, a lot of hours. And it's just excellent. Made by Obsidian. The story is great. It's a very great story. You play as a courier who got shot in the head for carrying a little chip. Now it's your job to find out who shot you, where is he, and where is that damn chip. And also, the combat is really cool. Fallout 3, it's very not all that interesting in my opinion, and the combat is very crappy and very dated, but Fallout New Vegas improved all of that. And yeah, some people are loving Fallout 4, but in my opinion, Fallout New Vegas is the best one. Probably because I also love westerns. Yeah, I'm a huge sucker for westerns. And going around with a lever-action shotgun is fantastic. At number 10 is another old school game that almost everyone said, yeah, this is an excellent game, thank you for putting it on the list. Super Mario Bros. For the NES. It's Super Mario. Some prefer Galaxy, some prefer other ones. They're all kinda good, but I feel that they tend to get kind of repetitive. But the first one, I really enjoy it. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. At number 9 is Portal 2. Oh yeah. Because Portal 1, let's be honest, it's a very good game. Not perfect, but it's kinda short. Portal 2 gives you that and more. And more. And more, and even a multiplayer mode, with excellent dialogue, fantastic voice acting, top-notch graphics, and some of the best puzzles in gaming. Portal 2 will grip you from the start and it won't let go until you finish it in one through, or until you just start bleeding from the eyes because you're tired. It's an excellent game and I highly recommend playing the multiplayer. A lot of people overlook it. Don't do that. It's great, especially if you have a good friend that isn't stupid. If a friend has finished Portal 2 without a lot of difficulties, without looking at walkthroughs, play the multiplayer, because otherwise if he's still stuck in the single player, don't play with him, because he will make things really frustrating. I've met a lot of people like that. If you're watching this video, I'm sorry if I said that you were stupid, but yeah. It was not fun with you, I'm sorry. At number 8 is another game that I was kind of hesitant putting on the list, but a lot of people voted for it. So it's The Last of Us. Yes, it has an excellent story, and it really does. It's a very Hollywood, dramatic, post-apocalyptic story. A father who lost his daughter, is angry with the world, and now he has to carry a girl, the only possible cure for humanity from the deadly virus. Does he get too attached to the girl? Do bad things happen during the journey? Yeah, all these things happen because it's an Hollywood-like story, full of cliches, but it's very well told, and the voice acting and the graphics are top-notch. They're some of the best in the industry. But it's a good game. I like it. I don't love it, but it's definitely one of the best ones of all time, at least technically speaking. And story-wise, I can see why a lot of people consider this to be one of the best games of all time, and that's also why it's on the list. At number 7 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now this is the ultimate fantasy action RPG, baby! Oh, Witcher 3. A huge open world, a shit ton of main quests, even more side quests, plus Witcher contracts, plus question marks on the map, going around and finding treasures, taking part in horse races, playing motherfucking Gwent. Come on, it's an excellent open world game, and it's easily the best action RPG out there because the combat is satisfying, it's very hard to master, but the difficulty curve is pretty damn good, especially compared to the previous two games. It's a must play for, I have to say that every single game from here on is a must play for everyone, more or less. But The Witcher 3, if you love fantasy, if you love action RPGs, go play it. It's freaking amazing. I don't know how people can download it on Steam, unless they have a crappy toaster that can't play it properly, or if they just suck at the game. But still, excellent, 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 excellent RPG. At number 6 is Team Fortress 2, probably the ultimate first-person shooter multiplayer. And I spent 300 plus hours playing the game. I haven't played it quite a lot recently because I've been kinda busy, and if I start playing it, I will stay up there at least 3 hours in a row. But it's excellent. You have 9 different classes, no one is overpowered, teamwork is required, and it's just a fun game to play with friends, with random people. You can go on trade servers, you can go on deathmatch servers, you can play on actual official servers of Valve, you can play Death Round. There are a shit ton of different game modes, there are many players, and there is a lot of fun to be had with Team Fortress 2. At number 5, it's my personal favorite game of all time. And I had to put it on the top 20 best games of all time list, and a lot of you guys actually voted for it. I was surprised. It's Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. An excellent third-person shooter with a ton of modifications and one of the best stories in video game history. Max Payne, after events of the first game, he starts working again in the NYPD. But someone from the past comes back. What happened? What happened to her? And why is everyone starting to die? Why am I being followed? It's a compelling story full of twists and with really good set pieces. An excellent soundtrack with the introduction to the world of Poets of the Fall. Remedy, you made an excellent game. And I love the secrets, and I love the level design, and I love the weapons, and I also love playing it with modifications. It's one of the best games to play modified. It's just... I love Max Payne 2. I love it. At number 4 is another game that a lot of you guys voted for, and that I still can get quite into it, even though everyone says it's excellent. It's even worse than Dark Souls because I've actually completed the game and I still don't get it. But it's Mass Effect 2. Third-person shooter action RPG set into space. It's an epic galaxy quest trying to save the entire human race. Multiple side quests, interesting characters, and a fun story. This is easily the best sci-fi RPG game of all time. And a lot of you guys love it, so it's on the list. Don't hate me, please. Ooh boy! And now we're at the final 3 games. These games were mostly voted by you guys. All of these games are in the order that they were on the list that I found. You guys voted for them, I put them on there, and I actually have to agree with 2 of them. Let's start with the third one though. Half-Life 2. I really like this game, and everyone loves this game. And I can see why. The Source engine is revolutionary, with excellent ragdoll physics, the constant improvement. It has been upgraded at least 10 times, if I'm not mistaken, in the past 12 years. And now the new one is coming out, and Half-Life 2 was revolutionary at the time, with huge maps, different objectives, excellent enemy AI, excellent even companion AI, vehicle sessions, a lot of secrets, multiple weapons, destruction. It holds up extremely well even to this day. And I can see why a lot of people consider this to be the best game of all time. Even though I like it just fine, I can see the merits that it got over the years. But oof, I'm really not all that excited for Half-Life 3 to be announced. I'm just like, okay, it's gonna come out. But oh boy, it looks pretty damn good right now. But oh boy, Half-Life 2 is an excellent game. I have to say, it's one of the best first-person shooters of all time, and one of the most revolutionary games ever made. At number 2 is Red Dead Redemption. In my opinion, the best open world game ever made, the best western game ever made. The story of John Marston is legendary, it's ageless, it's timeless, it's everything. It's compelling, it's fun, it's dramatic, it's dark. The gameplay is great, the violence is excellent, it's a very bloody game with a lot of bloodstain, with people flying everywhere, you shoot dynamite. It has a huge open world, full of life, full of side quests to do, full of random encounters that are always great in these type of games. And it's just a perfect game in my opinion. But now, it's time for number 1. And if you follow this channel, if you've seen at least 5 different videos, you know what's coming. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This has been voted by you guys. This is the best game of all time. An excellent third-person action stealth game. Set during the Cold War in Russia, you followed Naked Snake on a quest to find the boss, his mentor, who has betrayed the US of A to go with the Russians, to start a nuclear war. Great premise, timeless, literally timeless premise. And this is excellent. The gameplay is top notch. It's very different obviously from Metal Gear Solid 5 that you probably have played, but oh boy, it's deep. It's a very deep game in both story and also in gameplay as well. There are a lot of things that aren't explained to the players, but that are excellent. You can hunt for animals in the forest to get food, to recover your stamina. There are different outfits that you can get. There are a ton of laughs to be had. There are many Easter eggs, there are many secrets, different ways to approach things, a lot of weapons. It's the best game ever made in my opinion. It's so deep, it's so full of detail, it's so replayable. It's so great. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, it's available on almost every single platform except for PC and Wii U, if I'm not mistaken. But still guys, if you can, please play it. It's worth it. It's really worth it. Trust me. So obviously someone is gonna disagree with this list, but that's fine. These are just 20 games. If I could have, I would have made a top 1000 list, but that's not the point. These are just 20 games that perfectly define my generation of gamers. Your generation probably, and you guys voted for it. You thought these were the best games of all time, and I made this list just for you guys. But still, tell me in the comments below, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And also tell me your personal favorite games of all time, and especially the top 20 best games of all time. According to you, maybe you will say, where's the Legend of Zelda game? I don't know, it was probably at number 25 on the final cut, but still. Please guys, don't hate me, this is just my opinion. Tell me your opinion in the comments below, there's no need for hate, please. But still guys, thanks as always for watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.